Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes. Minutes from the July 5th, 2022 meeting. Are there any corrections?
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Approved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Accounts payable. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, I have a motion to approve the accounts payable.
So moved. I'll second.
Approved and seconded. Roll call vote. Commissioner Messer,
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek,
Aye.
Commissioner Zander. Chair votes aye. Motion carried. The Spirit of Excellence Award, Julie Obiegewicz.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Julie Obiegewicz, and we, at the end of June, presented our award for the month of May, actually, so it was a little, about a month afterwards. And the recent recipient was Colleen Rodakowski. She is in attendance today, and we have a video that I'd like to share. And I think we'll just play that, and then we'll just visit afterwards.
That you get many, many nominees that are outstanding because our community is amazing. There's so many people behind the scenes and in the forefront that do so much for our community that we don't even know.
Dear God, thank you for your beautiful daughter, Colleen. Thank you for the gift and joy we all have for you to share our lives with her in this time and place.
As the Executive Director of Elder Care Dickinson, she has been instrumental to the success of Elder Care's mission of giving the elderly the option of remaining in their homes and helping them maintain a sense of independence and a better quality of life by providing nutrition and transit services. By striving for safety and customer excellence among her employees, her guidance and leadership has led Dickinson Public Transit to being awarded the Best of the Western Edge Award for cab companies 2 years in a row. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, she has worked tirelessly to ensure that the services provided to our community by Elder Care have continued to be provided safely every day. Without our services, many elderly would be left without nutritious meals, and many community members will lose their source of reliable transportation. She has worked hard to provide safe working conditions for her employees, as well as training her staff to ensure the safety and health of our customers and coworkers. Her leadership is second to none, and her commitment to the organization and the community is felt deeply by those who work for her and know her.
Working with her has been a privilege, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Colleen has a wonderful rapport with all the employees, and they work well with and for her. Without her at the helm, I doubt Elder Care would still be operating.
Your pursuit to be better and better human being and boss and person is very, very, very commendable. So we love you so much. Congratulations.
Colleen has a gift. She is capable of working in the thick of a large project with her team, but also willing to let her team shine while she stands along the sidelines cheering them on.
Colleen has a compassion for the services, but more so driven by what would happen to the people we serve if we cannot continue offering services or have to cut services. And I believe that motivates her every day she comes in.
I know about Colleen. One time I was with her, and I don't even remember how we got into this conversation, but she said, when my drivers are out and somebody doesn't come and get their meal, we get concerned. I tell my drivers, they better go check on the person or they better report it to me. That is phenomenal.
In Business Challenge, she worked with high school kids. Now she's working with elders and elder care, and it makes sense to me that she's moving people from point A to point B. She's feeding people. That just makes sense to me that is her career.
And she's such a big part of our church family. Everything that we've heard today about her big caring heart, she carries through and through the church. She's been such a positive role model to me personally. Just a really good sister in Christ and faith, and she's very prayerful.
I've known Colleen since being on the commission and for the last 8 years. And I can tell you this, as we go through the process of running our community, one thing that I can appreciate with her is when she comes to us to do a presentation for funding, she's prepared. She is honest, and you know there isn't a hidden agenda. Thank you so much, Colleen. And roles are in the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award in recognition of outstanding excellence and leadership. Thank you so much.
I can't even express the words to see all of you from up here. I love you guys all so much, and my heart is just full. I'm very full right now. And I wanted to hug every person I was talking about here. I'm sitting here and keep cheering up a little bit. I want you to know that I'm so blessed, and I look at the gifts that God gives me and the gifts that He gives each of you, right? We all have so many special gifts that God bestows upon us, and for me, He asks us to use those gifts for goodness. And He asks us to use those gifts for me to bring other people to Him. So I want to thank work, with my family at work. The management team that I've worked with is just phenomenal. And then of course, the customers and our customers, meal people, transit riders, I'm so grateful that we have them. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't even be here. Our mission to help them remain independent as long as possible, provide those transit services because many people can't drive. You and I can go from here and do 5 errands. They have to, come and put their rides together and try to minimize how much they're getting out because they're not able to drive and they have to pay the fare. And I'm so honored and so blessed to be working at Elder Care Dickinson Public Transit. It's hard sometimes and it's wonderful sometimes, and we all have that. But in my heart, it's exactly where I'm going to be, for the rest of my career because we're making a tremendous difference.
Certainly a jewel in this Green City crown.
This community doesn't realize how blessed they are to have this kind of service.
She creates an excellent work environment, not only for myself and the other management, but also for the employees.
She always will take the time and take the kids. I know she's busy too, and she always makes it work, but I don't know how somebody can have that much patience.
She would do anything for you, and she has done that for me, and I really do appreciate your friendship.
It's not just the people that join here, it's the words that are shared here. It's an hour of positivity, sharing kind words about someone that generally we don't stop to do. I'm going to give this prayer to you guys. This is my prayer for you. It's such a blessing just to know that since your life began, the Lord's been guiding all your steps according to His plan. And be assured that day by day, He'll give you all that you need to prosper and to be happy as His plans for you succeed. Let your faith and your joy and your trust in the Lord touch your heart. Rejoice on your birthday with hope in your soul, for His grace has made everything new. And know that you're kept in the warmest of prayers for His blessings to shine down on you.
At this time, I'd like to ask Colleen to come forward.
my gosh, I'm still full. That was heartfelt to watch that. Tearing up again. Anyways, I need a moment. Thank you, Julie. I announced that day that Julie was a student of mine at Dickinson State for entrepreneurship. She wrote a fabulous plan on being a wedding organizer. I'm going to give that to her. I'm going to go home and dig that out of the box. But I'm so proud of Julie and watching her from when I knew her as a student to what she has done for our community is just phenomenal in her creation of this award. I know she's working with the support of the Sheriff's Office, and it's wonderful. And I'm really very honored to receive this recognition. I want to thank the mayors. I know that they had probably a large amount of people in our community. So many people give and dedicate, not just me. Our town is full of wonderful people, and I'm sure it was a hard selection to pick the award nominee. So I'm very grateful for those mayors, Tom Roll, Emery Vaughan, Cody Silbernager, Scott Decker, Floyd Hurd, and Connie O'Brien. Very appreciative of this recognition. I have to thank my Elder Care Management Board. I mean, I work under a phenomenal group, and I have of all the board members. They're great leaders. They're always there for me. My management team is with me today. I'd like her to recognize Aaron, Humphrey, and Rose Drake. Let's see, Kelsey is not here. Kelsey was on she was nominated me along with Aaron. I'm very grateful for Kelsey. She still works with us, and she is moved to Minot, but she works part-time from us. Let's see, my staff and customers, and you know what, all of you, the community, I'm very grateful to be in this role of leadership and management. And I have to say, I always say this, if you work with me, you know, I don't do this alone. It's with all the people who work with me and for me and the customers. And I always give it to God's grace because we have had hard times in our community. And I think I'm speaking for all of you here in this room and who's watching. There's times we don't know how we're making it through, especially when we work in our community of care and love, trying to make it safer, better. And I always tell people it is through God's grace, our cooperation with God's grace, that we are able to do the things we do, because it's not me. He's using me to bring people to him, and he's using me to help feed seniors who are desperately in need of meals in their home, as well as transit riders. So thank you. And again, my heart is full. So very appreciative.
Colleen was just a super deserving person. The words that were shared there were just, it's nice. It's really nice. Our next award deadline will be August 15th. Again, we're doing them quarterly this year. The categories include leadership, customer service, innovation, stewardship, and also Good Samaritan random acts of kindness. Submissions can be submitted online very easily through a Google form, starkcountysheriffnd.com. And I thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we need to go back and also approve the bills continued, the supplement. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I'll include in the motion to include approval of the supplement as presented.
And I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, should do roll call on that one.
Okay, Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Commissioner Zander.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Sheriff's report.
Not as tall as Julie, apparently. Chairman and Commissioners, good morning. All right. Highlights from the July report for the Stark County Sheriff's Department. Total calls for service 1,443. This is down from 1,472 last year. 219 traffic stops. This is down from 279 last year. 67 stops from the city of Dickinson. 152 stops from the county and neighboring small towns. There's 194 public relations stops. This is down from 246 last year. 20 bar checks. This is up, not down, up from 12 last year. 7 theft-related calls for service. This is up from 4 last year. 38 canine usages. There were 9 prisoner transports, 18 court transports, 2 juvenile, 4 medical, 8 mental health, 1 prisoner assist. We responded to 16 accidents, 0 pedestrian, 1 hit and run, 4 injuries, 10 property, and unfortunately 1 fatality that occurred east of Richardton last week, involving a 19-year-old male. Had 104 total arrests for the month. Some of the things that we were proud of or wanted to especially note for July, Lieutenant Hoff graduated from 10 weeks in staff and command school. There was 19 people, 18 from around the state, administrative personnel from around the state, and 1 from Missouri, I believe, attended the class. We have National Night Out tonight. You guys are welcome to attend that. That is a function that occurs every August, the first Tuesday of every August each year. That involves first responders interacting with our youth of our community. We have quite a large booth and activities as far as we go for that, so you're welcome to come participate with us. Stolen vehicles are kind of getting to be a thing again, so people, I just wanted to note, hopefully people will start taking their keys out of their vehicles and securing their vehicles. We're having vehicles also having windows broken, mostly in the city of Dickinson, but there was one in particular yesterday where some items were in plain view and the window was broken and those were stolen. So please don't leave those items in plain view. Monday, I'm asking for one of you to participate with me at the Richerton City Council meeting. I have very little information on this, and I apologize, but there's just not much information available. We're hoping that the tribes will come to the meeting, but apparently, and again, I'm just going on what little information I was given last night at a special Richardton meeting. The 3 affiliated tribes supposedly are purchasing the Richardton Hospital or leasing the Richardton Hospital for a alcohol and drug treatment facility. What that means, I don't know. So if one of you guys would designate yourself to come attend that meeting with me Monday so we can get more information. I'm going to get a hold of Badlands, potentially Mr. LaFour, since he's working on a situation like that here in the city of Dickinson at the old hospital. You know, maybe he can give some light on the subject, but can I get one of you to attend that meeting?
I'll do it.
Okay.
What time again?
That should be at 7 o'clock, but if it changes, I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks.
Where's the National Night Out held at tonight?
The Ice Center,
What's the
5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Commissioner Messner, do you have a question?
No.
Oh, just choking, okay. All right.
Did you have a question, Dee?
No, the time is what I wanted to be said.
Oh,
Anything else? Thank you.
thank you. County Road, Al Heiser.
Good morning, everyone. Just kind of a rundown on what the road crew is up to. We're hauling gravel over by Richardton with a few trucks in a short haul, and we've got the rest of the trucks hauling down on Sheffield. We're actually blending some gravel, kind of salvaging some of the gravel in the existing road and adding some shale with it. We got a couple guys working on some culverts throughout the county, and we're gonna probably start removing some old bridges and replacing with culverts here now. It's kind of drying up a little bit. After the spring, it was pretty wet, so it kind of delayed us for a little while. Got some projects going on, but I think I'll let our engineers give the progress where they're at on them. And that's about all I have this morning. If any got any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Interstate Engineering, James Cattermas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just the one design project, brief. 38th Street Southwest Bridge replacement. Our draft CADX has been sent to the department for review. This pushes our bid date to January. 90% plans will be ready for Superintendent Heiser's review next week. We will work on finalizing easements in the coming weeks. Any questions on that project? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Highland Engineering, Mike.
Good morning, Mike
Morning.
Ness, Highlands Engineering. Design engineering projects. Last month we submitted about 7 bridge replacement projects to the DOT. We're still waiting to hear from the funding results on that. Hoping to hear something this month to see where we stand on those items. One of the construction engineering projects, on 80th Avenue Southwest, southeast of Richardton. Again, that project was bid in June. Central Specialties was awarded the project. I did talk to them. They have not gotten a box culvert manufacturing date yet for that. I'm assuming it'll be next spring of '23. The completion date is October, the first week of October '23. So no work on that job until next year. Design engineering project north of Richardton on 83rd Avenue, still kind of waiting on funding on proceeding on that project, but we have the environmental document and core permit ready to submit for approval. Other than that, there's a transportation alternative TA program. I'm gonna work with Al on identifying a path, shared use path to submit for that. The deadline for that is the 19th of this month, so need a little prep work on that, on identifying the project, and maybe some partners in applying for a specific shared use path. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Northern Plains, Jeremy.
Morning.
Hi.
Morning.
I'm Eric Ernest of Northern Plains, filling in for Jeremy today. So just to start off with our construction projects. 127th Avenue and 131st bridge replacements. That was actually did a final inspection last week with the DOT on that, and that has been approved with some minor erosion things to take care of, but that's in the works. 38th Street Bridge, southwest of Richardton. You guys should have a pay estimate number 2 in hand. That project was just actually seeded yesterday, so we recommend pay estimate in the amount of $34,149.67. Has that been acted on, or?
I'm pretty sure we did receive the
Okay.
pay estimate, so we will be sending out the check after this
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, sounds good. The other construction project that actually hasn't started construction, but is 83rd and 86th Avenue, box culverts or bridge replacement south of Richardton. That was originally slated for a later this fall start, but I actually just heard yesterday that maybe later this month actually they'll start. So that's good. Forterra was able to move up their schedule on building the boxes, so that's good to hear. We'll just have to work with Al, and it's going to be probably starting right during harvest too, so we'll have to figure that out. But as far as closing the road goes, the start counting paving, that's some subdivisions in 116th Avenue. Actually, Mayo just started basically this week. They plan on starting to pave on Thursday, probably through Monday or Tuesday of next week, and then that should be finished up, so. 32nd Street and 107th Avenue grading northeast Dickinson. That is, Libachek Construction has that, and we have a pre-construction meeting set for August 9th on that one, so. Any questions on the construction projects? Okay, moving into design projects, we got 2 bridge replacements along 131st Avenue near Belfield. That the documented CADX, the environmental documents have actually been reviewed by the DOT, and I got comments back Friday last week, so I'll be making my way through those comments and getting that document done. So we're hoping still for November bid opening for that, for those 2 boxes. And then lastly, the 127th Avenue box, that one still hasn't received funding yet, and we're just kind of in limbo waiting for actually the state SHPO on that one for the archaeology stuff on it too, so. Any questions, comments? Okay.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning? Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chairman Arthod, Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. Last Thursday, the 28th of July, there was a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and there was one case, and that was public hearing, and that was for RZ 1022. Hunter Allerdings was requesting a rezoning from agriculture to rural residential, and it's located on 30th, just to the east of 117th. You've got the legal description in front of you. And essentially, the owner, Mr. Woke, wants to sell Mr. Allerdings 5 acres so that he can build a house on that. Both staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
No questions. If no questions, do I have a motion?
I move the Stark County Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of RZ 10-2022 for Hunter Allendinger's rezoning petition from ag to a rural residential as for meeting the goals, objectives, and implementations strategies of the Stark County Comprehensive Plan and all the requirements of the Stark County zoning ordinance, and also be in the best interest of public health, safety, and welfare.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much. I'll notify the applicant and the property owner. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to go ahead and skip to my permits, I have like 3 of them at the bottom. We can.
Okay. We will skip down to the permits. Before we go to break, Dickinson Diamond Softball Gaming Permit.
Okay, for this one, this was conducted, they turned in the raffle, it was out at the Motorsports Park, and they were assigned permit 138, and I'm just, the event, we are working on the permitting process, and all the forms have been updated online along with what our guidelines are, but we are still in arrears of trying to get everybody up to date on how that works. So I just look for approval of this permit that I issued for the Dickinson Diamond Girls Fast Pitch raffle.
I'll move to approve.
Second. Commissioner Zander and Commissioner Marsh, or Commissioner Messer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay. The next one I have is a little bit different. It's for a St. Stephen's Church in Richardton, and they sent a check. However, I mean, the check was for $10, which is one permit, and they have bingo, raffles, calendar raffles, sports pools, etc., all on what they're putting here, and they're putting for dates of activities July 5th through June 30th of next year. If the commission approves it, I have no issue with them submitting $1 amount for all the events. Normally, we do $10 per event, but I will have to contact them, and they can't just hold events whenever, they feel like it. They have to actually give me dates of those events. But if you would like to accept the amount for their year, since they're a church, that's totally up to you. But my standard is $10 per event and a permit per event. So,
Is that a standard or something that we have in policy with the county or something with the state? Is that just something we go by with county?
that is what we have been going by with the county is per event. I know in the past it was kind of just whatever they wrote on their sheet, but I'm just trying to clean up that process, and it was put on the website that it's one permit per event.
So what did St. Stephen's do prior to this? I know they've held events out there. Was it one fee?
I tried to look for a former event permit, and I didn't really see anything under St. Stephen's. So I don't know if this is the first time that they're applying for a permit. I just want to know what the commission is thinking on their side.
I would, the city, they do, if it's a one permit, it's $10. If it's a year-long permit, it's $25, which I don't know if we have to follow city or not, but I mean, that's just the way, so if we want to be consistent. But when you give them the 1 year, you have to give all your dates.
Right.
And I think they should, regardless of what we charge.
And
it's
as a
$10, I think they should have all their dates and they should have their calendar ready.
Okay. And I agree that I do need all of the dates, and I will contact them. And if you guys want to issue a year-long permit for all those dates, we can totally change that on our current permitting.
Because if we would have a fee for a single and a different fee for a yearly thing, if something else came up, they'd still have to pay the $10 for another. If they had something that came up other than the dates that they gave you, it'd be a separate permit again for the $10.
Right.
Just for discussions, if I might. I was always under the assumption that there should be, or has been, as far as Stark County goes, an application for each event and a fee for each event, and that's why we always kept the fee at a bare minimum. I also noticed that the heading on the application for local permit or restricted event permit doesn't say events, it says event. So, I honestly, I don't care, but I think we need to be consistent with what we do.
Okay. I just wanted to check with the commission before I called him and asked him to ask the church to pay more or et cetera. He's going to have to give an entire list anyways. I just wanted to see where you guys were at with that.
I think an entire list is great, and they're just going to probably have to be some additions to things that are coming up that they don't realize with the church.
That's why I said that'd be a separate application and then a separate fee.
So you're fine with keeping it as is, and I will contact him and let him know that he has to do it by event? Because I received this application July 6th, and it says the first event was July 5th. So it's hard to charge somebody for an event that they already had, but I just want to know what the commission's thought is on this.
Well, I would agree with Commissioner Zander. We must have some kind of a precedence here. This can't be the first time that
religious organization has come to us.
Well, it wouldn't have to be a religious organization, it could be any organization.
It's any organization. I just want to see if the commission wants me to contact them and do an entire list, and if they want to continue it that way.
I think a year rate also. I don't know.
Well, a good way to straighten it out is to, do whatever you want to do with this, but then formulate a specific policy on these things and go forward from there. I'll just, my previous remarks that based on this, it's for an event.
Now, I did update all of our forms that are currently online, and they have there that it's per event, and you need to list the dates. But they submitted this before all the notice and the forms were updated. I mean, we got it the next week, so I'm assuming that they went by what was previously on there, maybe previously done, and they just printed it off. And I do have on the forms now how that works as far as, per event. So if I am totally fine contacting them. I just wanted to know if the commissioners did want to do a yearly fee or where they were going with that.
I'll just make a motion that if it's a single event, it's $10. If it's a year-long event from what would be July 1st till June 31st, is that the dates that it runs? I would suggest a $25 rate with all the dates included. And if any other dates come up, they have to apply for a separate single $10.
Is that a new policy then?
I just made a motion. It's not a policy yet.
Yeah.
I would second that.
Okay.
Because the permit should be, the fee should be reflective of cost. It shouldn't be and so if it's, an hour's worth of work or whatever, half hour's worth of work, I don't know, but that's where I'm coming from. The permit should reflect cost.
I think $10 is pretty minimal. I probably think we should stay at prevent. $10 is my feeling.
We'll do roll call vote. Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Or did we have a yeah, you Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek.
No.
Commissioner Zander.
No.
Chair votes aye, motion carried.
But now with this gaming permit that you have in front of you, do you have to follow these rules then? That would be,
Well, if he doesn't follow this, then he's going to have to follow the $10 per event rule. So
right.
it will be helping. I just will have to put that in the directions online that you guys want 25 for a year long if they provide a list.
I don't just add another comment, just for comment purposes. This application is a North Dakota State Attorney General form, and any deviation that we decide to make, I think, needs to be addressed with the Attorney General's office. And
I guess I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. With the city, it's $10 and $25. I have a $25 permit that I listed all the dates that we're using. I have no idea, remember what the form looked like, but I guess we can get one of their forms and just go off of that.
I will say that the city being home rule does have different rules.
True, I forgot about that.
As far as what they can and can't do issuing permits. That's why these are coming before the commission. Directly, the city is able to approve theirs on the spot. In the Century Code for the event permitting, it says, you can charge, it has like a fee range $10 to whatever. The actual Attorney General's office is not concerned with the fee. There is a minimum and a maximum fee, but they aren't looking at the fee. I don't send them the receipt. They're looking at that basically the gaming is not in conflict with a charity or something that might be there or provide gaming. It's just a little different with the churches because they obviously don't have blackjack at their church. So there is kind of different things, and there is restricted event permits too, and that's where you're going to see poker, 21, and paddle wheels. If one of those events is taking place, that gaming, charitable gaming, would have to shut down during the event. And so it is separate rules, and it is totally up to this commission. If they want to leave it as is, I'm just going to call the church and I'm just going to let them know. But it is $10, $10 is what we can charge per event.
I guess we already voted on it, so I mean, I guess if you want to check with the Attorney General's office and see if it's kosher, then we'll just go from there.
And I can for sure do that. If there needs to be a change, I can let you know, but I can check with them to make sure that's fine before I call the church.
Okay.
Okay.
The Knights of Columbus Council raffle permit.
Just one more comment.
Yes.
I would like to propose by motion that a committee of Mr. Franchuk and State's Attorney Amanda Engelstad review this entire permit thing and make some recommendations to the commission on whether we need to have a formal policy in place for this purpose. And I'm only suggesting this, so that it's fair for everybody, churches, schools, individuals that, local bars, whatever, that they're all on the same level playing field. That, again, a motion to form this committee of Mr. Franchuk and State's Attorney's Office.
If you don't want to form a full committee, I can provide the information that we have on permitting and what is our guidelines, and then Amanda can review it, and then.
There's a motion. I gotta wait for a second.
Oh, okay.
Is there a second?
I'll withdraw my motion.
If we want to make sure this is legit, I think that Karen and Neil and Amanda, Neil, you are on the portfolio on Amanda's.
Okay.
If you want to just make sure, talk to her and make sure this is legit.
Okay, so just questioning, we have no policy at this point. We just have an application for a permit come in front of us. We either approve or deny.
We follow state policy is what we follow currently, and that's what I've discussed with Amanda, and that's what she just suggested we do for now. So,
all right.
I mean, this is something that we're making sure that they're staying and doing the right thing. It's like with the churches and Knights of Columbus, these are all organizations that are just trying to make money. So I think the fee should be minimal.
Yeah. But the license is actually handled through the AG office.
Yes.
Yes, and so the permit for the function for the event is through us.
Yes.
well, the county beer and liquor licensing, and if there is a gaming establishment in the county, it has to be signed off by the county as well. So I deal with that separately than permits.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought I said. Okay, that's fine.
With that, we'll go on break. It is,
Should we do?
We
it
have one more
next
permit
Columbus?
though.
You want to approve the Knights of
oh,
Columbus
yes,
one?
sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the Knights of Columbus for Leffers permit request.
A second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carried. We will go into break until 10:05. Calling the meeting back to order.
Is Riley Queen's here?
No. Or Sherry Adams, is she on the phone? Or is she?
She's coming, she's calling in at 10:30.
Oh, she's
That's why I
gonna-
put a
okay.
set time.
Okay.
So we can move on to the Fairgrounds Hill Living Funds match if you want.
Okay, we're gonna move down to the Fairgrounds Hill Leving match funds, or funds match, please. Is Lisa coming up?
It was tabled, so
So what did we ever do?
Well, this was tabled, so it's brought back up. Ms. Heiser, do you wanna come up, please, and? I know Commissioner Messer, you had some questions on this before?
I did.
Lisa Heiser, County Parks Director.
Yeah.
What questions
Well,
can I
I
answer?
think what the questions that I had was, there was no documentation of the transfer, that once the contractors did all the work, that, you know, it was a lot of verbal stuff, or he said, she said, so what I wanted to do is get some background on it. And I did. I mean, I've talked to a couple of former commissioners, talked to a couple of the third contractors who were involved. And it was, at least in their opinion, kind of ambiguous. But based on what we have at the park board side moving forward, I guess it would be my recommendation or whatever, that whatever that is, it's part of the overall package that gets potentially contributed towards the facility. Because there are no minutes, there is nothing hard on it. Like I said, I talked to 4 people, so.
Am my understanding, like, you want it to be put towards the special project monies? Is that what you're asking?
What I was thinking was that this come before the commission as one request, if there is a commission contribution towards whether it's an event center or other improvements over there, rather than do it segmented, because then it gets lost in the weeds and everybody's gonna kind of forget about that part. So I just wanna, this one person's opinion.
Right.
That's how I'd like to proceed.
Okay.
So at that time, I think that we had a motion and a second, and I don't believe we voted on it because it got tabled. Do we go back to that same motion at this point?
No, because I think that motion got pulled.
I didn't know if it got pulled
Or-
or tabled.
It got tabled.
It got tabled.
Yep, the motion was made in the park board meeting to recommend that the $1.3 million was
Didn't we make a
considered
motion
to move
into our
it.
meeting here? And then during discussion, Neil decided he wanted to pursue it further?
I believe the motion was made at the park board meeting.
Yeah, it was at the June meeting that we had this.
It was June,
Yes.
yes.
I just wanted to clarify it.
So the 1.3 is what,
That was the total of the contractors'
Donation.
portion of what they donated to level that hill, yes.
and that's what we had said at our meeting, that we had made the recommendation that whatever they had put into it, then we would also match that and put it over to the park board side.
Yes, that's correct, because what we were initially going to do as a park board and the commission said level the hill, get it leveled. And we just went out and asked if the contractors would do it as a community event, and just a community project, and they did. And
With the
then,
understanding that we were gonna match it.
not that we were going to match it, per se, but they wanted us to be able to have the dollars. So they donated that so that we could put up a building. So that was their understanding of what we pitched to them is, if you donate it, then we can start a building much quicker because of those dollars.
And that was under Chairman Kuntz, right?
Yes,
Yes, I
and
remember
he's
that.
the one that said, then we should, take the money and whatever you get donated, we should take the money and move it over. And there was never a motion that was made to that effect. It was just a statement that was made.
Well, to all the contractors and everybody that did the work out there with the hill, I mean, they put a lot of money and their own time into that.
And that year was COVID, so they all took losses, which, was still appreciated by all of us that they did that for us. Because it did make more usable facility and more parking and everything. It was very useful for the county.
Is there a motion on the table to transfer that money?
I would make that motion. And where we're transferring it into the capital improvement funds out there, or where is it going to?
I'd refer to our auditor for that.
So I would say, based on what we have and some of the projects I know that are coming up, I would say for now, I would just make the motion to transfer the 1.3 million out of our general fund to the fairgrounds project account that Lisa has.
Special projects.
Special projects.
That's my motion. I think, I still believe there was an understanding that we were gonna do this. That's why those people went out in good faith to do the work.
Is there a second? As chair, I'll second that.
I think with this upcoming thing with the university involved in that, I think we probably should be premature. We probably should wait to see what happens there and then decide on the money issue, because I know we're going to have to put some money forward there if we move forward with them, that joint venture.
I think you're still gonna start your fundraising, so, I mean, if you go out there to talk to people, you say, we already have this much money in our fundraising account, which I think this is probably where it would end up at, it would be an easier sell to get more funds from people.
It is. I've had the comments from some of the ones that we've talked to, how much is the county supporting at this point? And, that's in terms of funds, that's been very difficult to answer that. And that's why I'm trying to get the county to support to a level to where everybody else says, okay, they are serious and they are moving forward with something. And so I get that DSU, that venture might happen, but we still need our portion that we'll be putting in as well. And, I think the last time that the contractors maybe were a bit upset that it was not considered and that there was more information that needed to be had. So we had those discussions of just why that had occurred. So.
And even if the thing with the DSU doesn't work out, we still are gonna go forward with our plan, and so we still need to get that money in there.
Yes, it's anticipated, yes.
Yeah, but you still have to pay for the project. I don't think we have enough information yet. We have a ballpark figure of what this potentially is gonna run. We don't have any semblance of coordination. The foundation or the DSU option just was surfaced in the last 7 days. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here, and for us to just go, okay, transfer 1.3, like I said, I did talk to, a dirt contractor who was out there and didn't have that recollection. We don't have those minutes on record, and so my position is, let's find out what the project is, let's take an overall full look at it, and then the 1.3, if that's what it is, can be part of whatever that is moving forward. There's no immediate need for the 1.3 to be transferred right now. It's not like you have a building or a piece of equipment showing up out there. And we can bring this up at any point every month. I think at this point, it's a little premature.
I think for those contractors, I was at those meetings. Mr. Franchuk, or Commissioner Franchuk, Commissioner Zander, they were. All the contractors I talked to, I just think it's very poor judgment not to transfer this money, because that's why the contractors did it. We would not have this money. This money would be gone to all the contractors, and it wouldn't even be in our fund if this wasn't brought up to the contractors. And that's why they did it, for how they did it, with the understanding. And maybe you had one that you can talk to. I can give you 3 to 4 different ones that were talked to. And that's why they did it, how they did it. Is so all this money would be saved and transferred over
And it should have been excuse me, then it should have been formalized so that future commissions would have had direction.
I'll be honest with you, I don't recall that conversation at all.
As far as showing the commitment, the park board, we approved, to go ahead with this contractor, this architect, your 58,000. So I mean, we're showing we're making, steps forward.
Yes,
towards
today, yes. And I did not put this on the agenda, but it was tabled, so that's why it was brought up, I guess.
I'll move for the vote.
The other thing that comes to mind is, all of the funds and activities going on. Do we know, is the majority of the public on board with this? We're talking about considerable amount of money over a period of time. And I'm just curious as to what.
Well, we haven't been able to do the public input meetings yet because we haven't moved forward to the drawings like we did today, because you have to have something to show them to get their buy-in to it. Everybody I've spoken to in terms of sponsors and donations of this, they're all for it. And so, they need to be shown what is it. The entire public needs to be invited to these meetings and have several of those meetings to get their input. Maybe that'll change the direction we go and some of the items that are in this building and out at the fairgrounds. It may change that.
I mean, I don't know how much public input we had on a $14 million social service building.
We're talking about two completely different facilities, one being essential need and one being non-essential.
Well, I would disagree with you on the non-essential part because it is very essential to have things for people to do, to live and work here, and to be healthy-minded, to be able to have places to go and events to attend and green space to walk out in.
And again, I support the project. I don't think we have enough information. I commend you for your commitment to it. But like I said, the money is still going to be there, whether it's 30 days from now, 3 months from now, or whatever it is. And I think it's got to be part of a total package, because if it changes, then we have to change. And so that's where I'm at, I guess. So hope you can appreciate that.
I do. Thank you.
Okay, well.
Okay, call for the
Call the
vote.
question, yep.
Commissioner Marsh,
Aye.
Commissioner Messer,
No.
Commissioner Franchuk,
No.
Commissioner Zander,
No.
Chair votes aye. Motion fails. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, we'll do the CD renewal in July.
If you turn back towards the end of your packets, you'll see that we renewed 3 CDs in the month of July. And I reached out to 4 local banks to get the best rates available. And all 3 CDs are being renewed with Cornerstone Bank at 1.25% for 12 months. And so I just wanted the commission to be aware that that has taken place and we are signing off on the paperwork.
Good.
Cool.
That's a good rate.
Yeah.
Better rate.
That's a much better rate. I can do my next one too if you want.
Okay, the Dickinson Polling Center for the general election.
So with this, with the commission, I am just kind of looking for your inputs and thoughts. The primary election costs were significant, and the vendors and everything are recommended and chosen by the state, and we have a hard time budgeting for that because we don't know really what the cost is until after we get after it's done. What I'm looking for, and I'm having discussions with the state about that because I know it must affect some of the smaller counties too. Currently, our polling locations for the primary were Richardton, Belfield, City Halls, and then the BAC, and then the mall. And then we also had early voting at the mall. For the general election, since it is not a presidential election and we did not have much of a turnout and the overall cost, I did speak to the mall because that we did have to pay for that space to use it for this year. And I spoke to them, and we are not going to be using the mall location for our general election because we do have another option. We could use our own facility over at the new social service building and use the Dakota room as an alternative option that would not cost the county anything to use the building. The other thing I'm asking the commission is, after discussions with my staff, is because of the voter turnout and such, would this commission be open to having a central location in Dickinson that can accommodate the parking and do the main location at the BAC? We would double our staff and everything at the BAC. We would have room to accommodate everybody, and they would have room to accommodate the parking instead of having two locations. I don't know what the commission's thoughts are on this, but this is something we've been discussing.
How much was the mall rent?
I want to say it was around $1,500 or $1,700 for the primary.
I think you have a little challenge over at social services strictly because you'd have to make sure your workers did not park anywhere close the community room entrance, right? And then I don't know how many parking spots are on that side, Mike, you would have to help us out. Might be a little bit of a challenge there. About 30, you think? Okay, that's not so bad.
You might have to provide a little signing direction for, the entry point and so forth, but I think Karen brings up a good point. It's adequate space, facility-wise, restrooms, this and that, parking is there, easy access for disability purposes.
And so if we go that route, depending on what currently the BAC is not charging us anything for their facility. I discussed with them to see if we potentially could just do a much larger, have two judges, two different ballot rooms, and just do a large facility there. That's another option if we wanted to do election day voting at the BAC is one polling center. I mean, you can also vote in Belfield and Richardton, and all the ballots are available at all locations. That's another option too, if we didn't want to have 4 polling centers. Because I can tell you, election cost wise, before I got another, $7,000 or $8,000 bill here in the last week, I had did the election costs, and it came to, we had about close to 3,000 people who voted, and it came to like $10.42 a vote. It was quite significant. And so I understand for the presidential, there's more people that vote in the presidential, and we'd probably, have to have another location, but I'm just looking for options in the commission on how they feel if we did just centralize it at the BAC for the general.
So what's your estimated cost for the general election in the event you pay no rent for a facility, whether it be the back or social services building. I mean, if it was $30,000 for the primary, what's your estimated cost for the general?
I really wish that it was $30,000 for the primary. It actually wound up being closer to $60,000 for the primary.
Okay.
I would like to get the general down into the 40-ish range.
And you'll accomplish that. I mean, you're the election official by statute, so this is really your call, your recommendation, but I guess I'm looking at it, if it's a $50,000 budget and you're paying $1,500 in rent, I mean, it's I think the mall is very convenient. I think, you know, I would listen to the public on that, but, you know, if it's 50 grand, 1,500 of it, yeah, we want to save that and don't incur that expense, but it's not the, you know, the big elephant in the room as far as expense.
Well, it's not only the facility itself. If we could cut down having to have the staff drive stuff over there, if we could cut down on having staff at the mall and do a combo at one location, if we can, I mean, it's definitely not just rent. There's other costs involved too, and I have to order even more ballots that are not used because I have to have all ballots at every location. So I have to order extras of everything. Whereas, you know, one precinct, I had 4 eligible voters, but I had to order 25 ballots for that precinct because I needed to have enough ballots at every location if somebody comes and votes.
Sure.
So it is an overall, it adds up. I'm just, commissioners' thoughts on if we potentially just did a large precinct voting center in Dickinson, or if you still very much want to have 2, or what your thoughts are on that.
There. I guess I would anticipate 2 things, and that's, you know, especially with our elderly crowd. When they get used to doing something, and then we change the game on them, that always upsets people. But not only that, Karen, I guess my question for you is, with marijuana being on the ballot, and we do see a huge influx of voters, which we will, is the BAC going to be enough, number one? And if we have inclement weather, are they going to be standing outside or having to stand outside in that weather, whereas with the mall they wouldn't?
Well, one thing I could do is look back on the election previously when marijuana was on the ballot. I think that was 18 maybe. And I can look back and see how many people voted. And
Over 12,000.
it was over 12,000. Okay. So is the commission open to using the Dakota room, or do you want to leave it at the mall? Because I'll need to contact the mall. I know when we discussed it earlier this year, the commission had said that they were open to using Dakota room and not paying for rent, but I can contact the mall and see if we can get our lease back if you think that's what you want to do as well.
You need to finalize your plans in the next 30 days, probably?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The mall's just pretty easy access, isn't it?
The mall is pretty, it is easy access, yes.
Things ran very smoothly the way you had it last time.
It did to a certain extent. I think there's always, there's always bumps. We did have some issues with, you know, people filling out paperwork correctly and stuff like that at the end of the night. But when you only work an election every other year, we're going to amp up our training more for the general to see if we can kind of offset some of that. But they were working with 25 different ballots. So, you know, that's the most ballots we've ever had. So I'm fine with contacting them all and seeing if we can renew our lease, if you guys want to go that route. I'm also just making the commission aware that that election budget, no matter what we do, is going to be over. And just coming at the end of the year, it's going to be a budget that's over.
Well, we have to provide for that. I mean, we have to provide an opportunity to people to vote, and I think the easiest way to allow that is what path you should take. If you, in your heart of hearts, thinks that the social service building is that path, that's fine. I would agree with the sheriff that the mall is easy, it's known, and, we don't want comments, I had to stand in line for 2 hours to vote, or I had to stand outside. So I think it's it's just, we have to step up and fund it. There's, without a doubt.
Okay. After the meeting, I will email over to Peggy and see if she still has that space available, and we can go from there.
Do we need a motion on that?
Nope.
Okay.
It's 10:30, so maybe she's on the phone.
Okay, it's 10:30. Sherry Adams, are you on the phone?
I am.
Hi.
Are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you, or we are ready for you.
That's good news. Hardly anybody's ever ready for me, so thank you. For the record, this is Sherry Adams of Southwestern District Health Unit, and I apologize for not being there in person. I unfortunately have 3 other commission meetings about the same time, so I'm just pulling into beats. So I apologize I'm not there in person. I did send out prior to the meeting the budget, which was a hold even request for mill levy, and also then I also gave to Karen the invite and the agenda for the August 23rd meeting, where we'll need at least 3 of you there for a quorum. And the minutes and everything are in that. So you should have all the materials that you're going to need for now, but also for the August 23rd meeting. As I said, and Ken is on the board, so he absolutely would also be able to answer questions. We are able to hold even 1 more year. And part of the reason that we're trying to, or I'm trying to do that, is a couple reasons. One is because almost all of my staff have worked COVID response, we've been able to divert some of their time under that grant, and then that took it off the general dollars. So, for example, nursing time, a lot of the time is covered under general dollars. But because of COVID, we've been able to divert their time under that grant. That grant continues till the middle of 2023, but I think it will be extended in some fashion. But even if it's not, it would be able to, we should still be able to hold even on that budget. The other thing is that the 28 health units are going to legislation to try to get an increase in state aid. State aid has not really risen for several years, and state aid across the board is only about 5 to 6% of all of our local health unit budgets. And so we're going to ask for an increase to hopefully take some of the burden off of the counties. And so we're hopeful we'll get some increase. We don't know what that will look like, but any increase will also help our bottom line. As many of you know, we were able to exchange the Whiting building for the other health unit that we were in, being able to utilize that building now. And so that building is really been helpful to us for the COVID response, but we also know that there will be opportunity for counties or other groups to use the big areas that we have. We have 2 big areas for either conference room, training room, or whatever is needed at no cost at this point. So that meeting will be at that building and not our old health unit. So that address is on the sheets before you. You may see that there's not an increase on salary line item. In part, that is due to there's a couple positions I haven't filled. mainly because the roles of some of those individuals have been absorbed by others that were hired for different things. And so there will still be money for raises, but not at an increase on that line item. So I guess, are there any specific questions for me? I only came in part of the last conversation for voting, but we really do have a humongous room. if you need a room to carry out voting, so it's very large.
Okay, well, thank you, Sherry, for commenting on that, because it's always interesting.
And it would be free. It would be free. There's no charge.
Any
questions?
No questions, Sherry. Thank you.
All right, you guys. Thanks for all your support.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, next on the agenda is the 2019 audit findings, question, concerns. Riley Kuntz.
You are the only participant in the conference.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Riley Kuntz. Have a few comments about this audit. I'm here today to discuss the 2019 audit, which found excessive funding being held in the county's coffers. I've reviewed budgetary information and the solutions the county has discussed as a means of reconciling the excess, and I'm unimpressed. Much time was used in contemplating today's speech in order to yield an outcome favorable to the taxpayer. Even though harsh admonishment is in order, it's unlikely to change the minds of the commissioners, as is with a lengthy dissertation about the budget numbers. You know, the budget, and nothing I say or point out will likely alter your thoughts and actions. One thing in particular, however, that stood out as lavish in the budget is the salary of the state's attorney, who makes $120,000 a year. For comparison, a United States senator makes roughly $50,000 more annually. Well, that was prior to the recent raise hidden in the infrastructure bill, but I digress. The state's attorney does not represent the county on civil cases, nor are they realistically needed in most of the criminal proceedings, as they pretty much run themselves. Furthermore, the legal advice they provide the county is laughable. The county was unaware the North Dakota Century Code titled Counties Apply to Stark County's budgetary planning process. At least that's the answer that was given in the audit as to why the county is overtaxing its taxpayers. For the third time now, I've spoken to this commission about excessive property taxes, and I'm not holding my breath expecting something to change in favor of the taxpayer. Frankly, to the contrary, I sincerely hope nothing changes, and Dickinson, Stark County, and all the other counties and the state itself continues to overtax, as it'll make my next move exceptionally easy. Legislative session is upcoming. There's budgetary surpluses everywhere, and I really look forward to seeing what we can make happen. Thank you.
Any comments?
Well, I appreciate his comments, Riley. You and I have talked about the taxation in your house previously. The good news is you have an opportunity over the next couple of months. There's 3 public meetings for budgeting. Thursday, right, on 9 a.m. Well, this Thursday, the 4th, 9 a.m. will be the department head presentations of their budget requests here. Then our preliminary budget meeting is...
I don't have it scheduled yet as a date-wise.
We typically do that in a special meeting, like the 3rd Thursday.
Yes.
And the final budget hearing is the first meeting in October, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
Are those always at 9?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, they are. Yep. I will put out a notice of when we decide that we can have that, because I have to get, it needs to be after, we're in a rush to get, estimated tax statements out by the end of August deadline.
And I mean, just a couple other in general comments. So whether it is a property that I own or Riley owns or anyone else in this room owns, the amount that the county has taxed or levied through the general fund over the last number of years in real dollars is actually, not even real dollars, in dollars has actually gone down. The taxes on your home may have gone up, but there's other political subdivisions that play a part of that, right? You got school district, the city, fire districts, park and recreation districts. But in almost to a T, unless there's some revaluation, the actual dollars that have been levied on your property over the last several years has actually gone down. And it's our goal to do that. And we've spent some of that surplus that you mentioned in that regard. We made a motion last year at the budget meeting to reduce the general fund by 5 mills. That was $1 million. That was debated, it was discussed, it wasn't unanimously passed, that was a 3-2 vote. But that was $1 million of direct tax relief in that regard as well. So I guess the big thing that I'm saying is you're welcome to participate in the process. The process is important, you know, and then we can decide, you know, how many dollars the sheriff's department gets, how many dollars the road department gets, and all those kind of things, and decide what the final levy for taxation is. So.
I appreciate it, Ben, that you're voting at them all because it's the easiest. Because when we're talking dollars, $1,500.
I would agree. And again, you know, as far as the comments towards the state's attorney's office, you know, if you've looked for and what we do our survey and what state's attorneys across the state are being paid, we're on the lower end of that. And so if that's your comment and your feelings, I think there's something bigger than that there. But if that's your feelings, then, you know, you probably don't have, we need to give you more data so that you can understand that. I mean, we advertised, we were looking for an assistant state's attorney. We advertised for months, couldn't even get an application, finally got an application, and the applicant wanted 30% more than what we were offering. So, I mean, it's that environment, that market with individuals who are looking into go in that line of work in the public sector, it's a tough market, unfortunately. So thank you again for coming.
With the budget, I also think that we have made a lot of improvements and tried really hard with this budget to where now that all 5 commissioners are involved, the department heads are more involved. We're having special meetings so public can come. I mean, before that, when I first started, it was a kind of a one-man show on the budget, and other commissioners were kind of just left out. And there just wasn't a lot of transparency, and there wasn't a lot of, I just think the way we're doing it now, it's slow. But I think that we're really trying to show transparency and have these special meetings and spend the least that we can, but yet keep employees, have public safety, and have good transparency. But I understand, I hear you, Riley. Any more comments? If not that, we have outstanding checks.
We just have one check to initiate cancellation for that. It's over a year old. They've been contacted multiple times and it hasn't been deposited or cashed. And so I just need a motion to cancel the check for $16.85.
And that gets forwarded to the unclaimed, how does that work?
No, so I will let Nicole know, but the bank does the charge for free, and then most likely we'll probably have to give it over to the unclaimed.
Got it.
Yes.
I'll move to cancel check number 91980 in the amount of $16.85.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Messer.
Aye.
Commissioner Zander.
Aye.
Commissioner Marsh.
Aye.
Commissioner Franchek.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried.
Is Kelly Braun here?
Yep. Kelly, Ron with the airport.
So he will be part of the 2023 budget preparation discussion. Okay, yep.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Kelly Brown, Airport Manager in Dickinson. I'm here today to request a local match for a project. I've got some handouts. I don't know if they made them into your packets. Are they in the packets?
Yep, they should be.
There's two handouts. One is the airport CIP plan, starting in this year, 2022, going through 2038. And then there's also a commercial service airport approved state grants. If I could draw your attention to the state grants down there at the bottom where it's highlighted Dickinson. So we have two grants that we receive funding for from the state. The one that I'm asking for today is the local match for terminal concept budget report and to purchase some additional SRE. The amount of the request for the local share would be $44,583 from the county. I met with the city a little over a week ago, and they agreed to match half of that $89,000 in the same amount, $44,583. So I'm seeking the other half from the county. Previously, the county has wanted to pay for those AIP projects out of the general fund and not go through the process of the airport requesting additional mills. Currently, the airport receives 1 mil from the county for our operating budget. So any capital improvements or infrastructure projects, we would request additional mills. But in the past, the county has always wanted to pay for those as we go out of the general fund. So that's what the request is for today. Does that have any questions or anything? I'd be willing to answer those too. If we have any projects that anybody has any questions on in the future. The reason these funds are being requested for the 2023, and if you look here on the CIP list, it's for 2022. We apply for those grants a year in advance, so those local funds aren't due, basically until a year later. We're the ones that we write the last check once all the federal funds and the state funds have been expended.
Kelly, thank you. How quickly do you need these funds committed?
I would say probably second quarter of 23 would be my guess.
Yeah, you're giving us a lot of heads up then.
Yep.
To ask questions and to.
Yep.
And with the budget process.
Correct.
Coming up, we are in a better position to, have that discussion. And I'm sure I see Karen kind of nodding her head, so I assume she's already got it on your agenda or in your plan.
Yeah. Karen and I met month ago or so, and we talked about the airport's budget and wanted to get this in front. We're doing the same thing. We're trying to put everything together so we know what our budget looks like too, so we can get that submitted to Karen by the 10th, and then everybody's got all the numbers that we need. So.
Did you send this email to the other counties? I know it's my same song and dance, but.
I did not.
You did not?
No.
Okay. I know you've always gotten money from them also, but.
Yep. On some of those bigger projects, I think it's beneficial. We've been very fortunate to receive some additional funding from Billings County and Dunn County, which has been very helpful with this big runway project that we're working on right now. These smaller ones, I don't know if that necessarily be appropriate, but.
Yeah. Do you, if you don't mind, maybe give us a real quick project update, where you're at, what stage you're in and so forth?
Sure. So some new faces since I've been here last time, so it's good to see that. So the airport is undertaking a fairly large multi-phase, multi-year project to rebuild the airport infrastructure, the runway, parallel taxiway. We started the planning of this project about, must be like 5 years ago or so. And we moved into construction 3 construction seasons ago. This season is our last construction season, and that runway is scheduled to open November 3rd of this year. Total project cost from planning all the way through current is somewhere just shy of $60 million. The FAA has funded about $45 million or so. And the North Dakota Aeronautics Commission, the state, has funded somewhere around 19 million of that total cost. And then the rest of it come from local share from the counties that I mentioned and the city. We've been very fortunate, and I have not had the opportunity to come before you guys to make requests for local match because the COVID relief grants for federal projects have all been funded at 100% the last couple of years, which is taken a lot of load off of the airport and the municipalities and the counties that support these airport projects. So that's good. But we're scheduled to complete the runway this year. November 3rd is our opening date.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And then we'll move on to terminal. So that's part of what the terminal concept is for, is to evaluate our current terminal and what the demands and stuff are going to be and come up with some alternatives. We add on to the current terminal. Do we start with clean sheet, new construction? We'll look at all those avenues and see which direction we move in, which one will best suit the airport and the future.
Question for you, Kelly. Have any conversations with the city on bringing city water and sewer out that way for a terminal expansion?
Yes, we have, and city and sewer is on their CIP list. I'm not sure exactly what year it is, but yes, the short answer is yes, we have.
So how are your boardings doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as you know, when COVID hit, boardings and aviation just across the country just took a nosedive. Since then, 2021 was kind of a rebound year. 2022, we're seeing some slight increases over 2021. We're not quite to where we were, pre-COVID in 2019. We do about 40,000 or so passengers in and out of the airport a year currently, and we see that trend to increase. A lot of our traffic is business. We don't get a lot of leisure traffic. There are just better options in Bismarck for leisure traffic. So the majority of the passengers we have coming through Dickinson are all business. So obviously oil and gas is a huge component of that. So there's a whole lot of things outside of our local control on how that all plays out. But employments are holding strong, and we've seen growth and rebound. So it's looking good.
Thank you.
So Kelly, I will have a sheet for the commission when we go over reviewing budgets, and it'll have what the amount the airport is requesting and what my recommendation for which fund to come out, and then they can go down and approve or not approve whatever ones they decide to.
Okay.
So this will just be added on to any of the other requests we've gotten throughout the year.
Excellent.
And I agree. I just asked, but I agree with the larger amounts. It was beneficial to go to the other counties.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's paid off.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that support. The airport is a Dickinson airport, but really it's a regional airport, and it serves Southwest North Dakota. And I think all those counties and their participation, they recognize that as well.
Yeah.
That's nice to have that support.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for your time.
So the other part I had with the budget preparation discussion is, would the commission, I'm trying to get, obviously I have proposed department head budgets. I'm trying to get some sort of numbers ready for Thursday. Would the commission be able to give me any guidance or anything on what they would like to see on those sheets for comparison wise? Is there any percentages that you are specifically looking at for salaries? Is there, just so that I have an idea of what you would like to see?
And you're talking about percentage on the raises?
Yes, so that I can give you something to see numbers wise, if that's what the commission would like. Or I can give, overall totals of what that would estimate. I mean, it's estimated tax statements, but what that would cost. I just need a range or what you're thinking. Because I like I was kind of mentioning, I don't want to do a 4, 6, and 8%, and then somebody says, "What does 5 look like?" So I would just like to kind of have it narrowed down a little bit to what you guys would like to see on Thursday.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I also asked to have this up, is to get a feel if there's a consensus amongst the commissioners. We did get, the statewide study from counties, where they're coming in. I think that's great information. The city yesterday threw a number out. That's good information. But and I brought this up to Karen and a couple of the commissioners, where I was throwing it out, was to give, we all know we're in high inflationary times. This is not unique. The last time we've had this, none of us were commissioners. Some of us probably weren't even in school yet. So my thought for discussion is that we throw out a percentage in there and then give a one-time, like a COLA inflation buster, whatever you want to call it. And my mindset behind that is the wages come out of the general funds, and the COLA payment could potentially be an ARPA payment. Not the one-time payment, lump sum, not subject to any of the retirement, Social Security, Medicare matching, all those kind of things. Because according to your data, Karen, last year we paid $6,200,000 in gross wages, and we contributed $4.3 million to, is that right? For retirement benefits, health care.
Probably, because we're still carrying, as far as
so
stuff goes.
it's a huge component part of it. And if we can buy ourselves a year and see what the future looks like, I mean, you want good employees, you want to compensate them at whatever the market is. And so that's why I brought it up, and I'd certainly be wanting to hear from others.
I know other counties pay full health insurance, and we're not there yet. I was thinking that we could always also look at that on not the full or a percentage more rate on that.
And Commissioner Arthod, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I want to say it would have been last year. I sent out an email to say if the county covered this much, how much it would cost and everything like that. I can probably just send that same email, because that's what you're looking at, percentage wise. Mm-hmm. And, if we covered 85 or 90 or 100, I mean, it had those different figures on there.
Okay.
If they wanted to go the health insurance option. Of course, health insurance, we'll find out here pretty soon. It's every 2 years. They do a increase. I'm sure we're going to have an increase this coming year, because it seems like everything just keeps going up. But it won't have that in it, but it'll have about how much it would cost the county to do an increase like that. I was in the same line with Neil at potentially doing a percentage and then doing some sort of one-time distribution to help out, because then we wouldn't be liable for retirement and carrying it over into the subsequent years and everything like that, and it would still be helping out employees. So I'm in favor of whatever the commission decides to do. I know that the thoughts on this in our meetings has been very varied from department head to commissioner. So if any of the commission just has what I'm looking for today, and we can have more of these discussions on Thursday, but if you just want to let me know kind of if there's something in particular you would like to see in this Thursday meeting, is there a certain percentage that you would be interested in seeing, so that I can get going on that.
And I want to help you get there. So again, trying to get a consensus, if we offer 5% plus a $1,500 bonus or a COLA, whatever you want to call it, that puts us a little over 8%. And quite honestly, it puts us probably in the lower third of the rest of the counties where they would be. But I think it's a starting point, because I think we have to figure out the appetite for whether we want to do a gross number, overall percentage versus the COLA, as I call it, payment. So I would throw that out there as discussion. That would raise our costs, I believe we figured out, to probably 670,000 more for 23 than for 22, of which 150,000 of that would be through the COLA or ARPA funding. It's not a budgetary item if we do it that way. So I'll just throw it out there.
So I already kind of have 5% in there. Is there another, if we're not doing the COLA, is there another percentage that the commission would like to see in there as well? I can certainly add another column. I just would like you to let me know so that I can get that done.
Maybe to do a 4, 5, and 6.
You want all three?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, the other issue that we run into is some departments did not do across the board percentages. They allocated the pot of money as they saw fit. So it's not going to be reflective on theirs. So that's also up to the commission. Do you want to just go with what I have from the department heads and what we discussed in the meetings, and you guys can determine that way?
I think salaries are one thing. I think department heads are another, and I don't know if you want to transition into that conversation without resolving the first issue first. Could we do that? Can we have her put a number in for budgetary things of 5% and 50, and let's start, we can negotiate up or down from there. The department heads, I think what we need to do is, and Mr. Zander could probably help me out on the history here. At one point, department heads were exempt from overtime. Then they came back in to be more hourly plus overtime. Now we're transitioning some of them back out. I think we really need to be uniform in that regard for department heads, because by our own policy, all overtime is supposed to be approved, right? And if you're a single department employee, who are you getting that approved from? Your portfolio holder and all those kind of things. And so it's cleaner if we make it exempt. But again, I want this for discussion, so that everybody's kind of, going down the same path. So that would be another discussion I would like to have on Thursday.
Okay, so most of the ones presented are around 5%. It says department head because it's varied depending on what you're looking at. So you would like to see 4 and 6. You would like, a lot of them are already 5%. Would you like to see, I guess I'm just wondering, how many columns you would like me to make on each budget?
How big a spreadsheet do you have? No,
yes,
just kidding.
That's kind of where I'm at. How big of a spreadsheet are we going with here? Like, are we gonna be satisfied if there's 3 different options, or?
Yeah,
I
I think so.
5 and 6 is fine.
Okay, so we'll go that route then. And then your agenda. That's all I had for that discussion.
I ratified the agenda on the, for the meeting time, so I know we can't make a decision on this today, but it's been brought forward to me again. And it has, many times on our meeting time. A lot of people would like to see our meetings in the evening.
What evening?
And that's what we would have to talk about. Residents would like to have it more accessible.
We brought that up right like a year and a half ago, and it makes me no difference. Yeah, it'd probably be more accessible. Is it feasible?
Commissioner Zander?
In a few short months, we're going to have one new commissioner for sure. And for the purpose of the timeline on discussion of, my recommendation is when the new commission forms, they can set that time schedule. We're only looking at a couple of months down the road, so I don't.
6.
No. Bernie, I know exactly. So anyhow, I mean, let's let that new commission decide how they want to address their meetings.
Cindy, you can come up.
We've been asking about this meeting time for how long? 4 years? 4 years. We've been coming and asking for the meeting time for 4 years. I mean, we are the taxpayers. We foot the bill. We would like to be present.
Well, I certainly understand that, Cindy. I mean, yeah. And was a year ago that I thought we addressed that, changing the timeline to 9 a.m., but other people are going to have an obstacle of evening hours where they can't attend. So I don't know if there's a perfect way to do it. Maybe we alternate it. 1 month we go at 5:30 and another month we go back to 9 o'clock.
I just know that we've been here for 4 years asking.
I don't remember the evening ask, but I do.
I've asked for evenings every year, and when I first started, but it's always either been shut down quickly or tabled.
No, it wasn't tabled. So Bernie kind of did a quick, probably your first meeting, did an inventory of what, it's tough for people from rural areas, your community, to get here at 8 a.m. So I remember the discussions on evening meetings was, if you stick to the day, we'd have to wait until, not have to, but it would be more than likely prudent upon us to wait until the typical Dickinson City Commission adjourns, which would be, depending on the meeting, but it would be post 6 o'clock. And then parents with children activities on a Tuesday are always difficult. So I don't think there's a perfect time. I've always said, set the meeting, I'll be here.
We didn't decide that Tuesday had to be the date. We didn't decide that Tuesday had to be the date. That's just the day that has always been going on. I mean, I myself would be in favor if we could put it to an evening time, but as soon as we pick a date, it conflicts with another city, small city commission meetings, and it conflicts with our commission meetings. And, I mean, do we have to worry about our city commission meeting? I mean, there's times that we might need to be at one or the other. They might have to be here. Or residents that want to go to both of them.
Yeah. And I know it's not the same, but we've tried to deal with some of the accessibility issue by doing what we're doing, by broadcasting the meetings, having the call-in option. I know it's not the same as being here. I enjoy having individuals here. I just don't think there's a perfect time.
No, there isn't, but I do believe that there's been several asking
There
for
is.
it to so that they can show up.
Like I said,
So, thank you.
thank you.
Carla, for discussion, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So next year, when we're looking at moving over some of our systems for paying bills. And I was going to actually ask the commission if maybe they would consider doing 2 meetings a month, but doing one in the morning like we have now, and then one later on in the month in the evening. We could kind of split up the agenda and have shorter meetings. But then we could pay bills twice in a month so that they're paid in a more timely manner. That is one idea that I had that would give people the opportunity to come to a nighttime one or come to a morning one. Just something to think about.
Yep. I think that's a good idea to have the business part of the commission at one meeting and the public policy at potential other meetings.
Yep.
I'd be fine with that. So again, you reach consensus, get feedback, I'll show up. That's my point, so. Madam Chairman, just want to make a quick announcement.
Yep.
For any of the commission. So as part of being on Stark Development and the West Dakota Energy Association, Red Trail Energy in Richardton is having an open house, the introduction of their carbon capture storage project that they started last month. And that starts at noon tomorrow. It's I think it's for 3 hours. I'll be going, so if any more than 2 of us go, I suppose we'll have to notice it. But I'll be there, so.
Is there any other commissioners going, so I know if I need to put it on the door?
I might
Or
go.
just want to let me know?
Yeah, I can let you know.
I may have. It's at noon tomorrow in Richardson.
Yes.
And where's Red Trail at?
Just first south of the tracks, east side of the road. Follow the stacks. You'll find them.
Oh, it's from the,
Yeah, it's out at their, you'll go to the administrative building, so that's where you'll start.
Anything else? Anything else from the public?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.